Just doing it up. Just doing it up.
Welcome to Just Doing It Up, Week 14. We got Klevdog with the stats, we got Rooster in the Chicken Shack, and we're going to get rolling. Klevdog, kick us off with the Week 13 recap.
We go, Stat Boy over here. The Rooster had a hot week. He went against A-Rock's wishes to disavow the Seattle Seahawks and took them on Thursday Night Football at +9. The Hawks cover the spread, but lose in a shootout down in Jerry World, 41-35. The Lions gave him a scare, but held on to win 33-28 in NOLA. He also covers with Detroit at -4. The Rooster went 2-0 this week. Hello? But had some cold water poured on him during some Monday Night Football action. We'll get into that later. He takes a commanding lead and moves to 15-10-1 on the season. Klevdog bet on the worst game of the week and found out Tampa could not cover the -5.5 spread at home, but did pull out a win against Carolina 21-18. I went into the Chicken Shack and I tried to not make it personal. I took Cincy at +8.5 down in Duval. Well, Cincy covered, and sadly for the Rooster, they won 34-31 in OT. Klevdog goes 1-1 on the week and moves to 13-12-1 on the season. A-Rock, the father of one, is liking what he's been seeing out of those LA Rams. They beat the shit out of the Browns 36-19 as he easily covers that -4 spread. He also bet on the hot hand and got burnt. The hot hand being the Denver Broncos. They lost 22-17 against Texans and could not cover that +3.5 spread. A-Rock also went 1-1 on the week and moves to 12-14 on the season. Special guest Potato Chip pushed on the Chargers at -6. He thought he won. He got his bet in late. He pushed. -6 was the line. They played in the worst game of the year, but they did win. They beat the Pats 6-0. He did hit on my pack at +6 as they handled the Chiefs in Lambeau, winning 27-19. Shout out Brody. Back to you, A-Rock.
Yeah, that was a really bold pick. I think Bro Diesel called the Packers winning outright on the pod. So I mean, props to Brody there. The Chargers though, they were at -6 when he took them. So, give credit to the Patriots, holding them to that little of a score. But we're not going to talk about the offense, though. So forget that. That was the worst game of the week. We thought the Panthers-Bucks were going to be the worst game, but that was terrible. Zappy ain't it. Patriots are in a downward spiral. I don't know what's going to happen in the offseason. We might blow it up. Who knows? My picks. Broncos +3.5. I told you last week it was going to be a one-score game. It came down to the last drive. I mean, the Broncos kept shooting themselves in the foot, man. They would throw a bomb to Sutton. I was like, hell yeah, in the group chat. They got the ball back. I was like, uh-oh, look at the Broncos. And then immediately a pick from Russell. I was like, what the hell? This could have been so much easier. Still had a chance to win, took 3 shots at the end zone, finally got that interception. Could not make the comebacks that they were doing all season. So, like Klevdog said, the hot hand had to run out at some point. It did this week. Shout out to the Stroud boys. I still love you. And then the Rams, I mean, I was getting chirped for Joe Flacco coming back after one drive. I mean, no, that dude still sucks. Not that he wasn't good. I'm not going to take away the elite tag, but that was inevitable. I mean, -4 against a backup quarterback, whether it was DTR or Joe Flacco. I said it in the group chat. I said I would have taken the Rams if it was Joe Flacco too. He's coming off 5 days of practice. Not that Josh Dobbs hasn't burned us doing that before, but pretty clean week on the card outside the Broncos picks. Pittsburgh Cardinals got a little scary there for a little bit, but we'll get into the money down parlay a little bit later. Rooster?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to week 14. On the week 13, that Chargers Pats game was pretty crazy, pretty electric from what I heard. funny. I was catching up with my dad, Tony, on a Monday night before the game that we'll cover later. And I was like, yeah, crazy games. And he's like, man, I watched the entire Patriots Chargers game. I was like, what? Why? And he was like, I had it on and then it got to a point where I just couldn't turn it off. It's so bad. I was like, kudos. Sometimes you get those games that are fun to watch when they're that bad. But I went 2-0 on my picks this week. Keep it nice and short here. The Lions barely pulled it out. Loved it. Sam Laporta is on a tear right now. You got to start thinking, like, if CJ Stroud wasn't having the year he's having, Sam Laporta could potentially be like an offensive rookie of the year candidate. He's having an insane year. He's changed that offense. Love that guy. He is the real weapon for Jared Goff, who obviously loves him too. Feels like it was weeks ago, but my Hawks took care of business on Thursday night. Loved watching it. The throwbacks were so fresh. They kind of clashed a little bit with the Cowboys unis, but although they couldn't get it done, Gino gets a little scared when he has all that pressure coming at him, which is definitely going to be a problem for them as they try and make a playoff push. But they did cover for me, so I'm happy. Or at least I was happy until last night. Clev made it personal. I do want to give a shout out to Brody for his money down parlay pick not hitting. Gave me one less thing to worry about. But that game was brutal to watch. I was texting my friend whose name I won't mention that's a Bengals fan. And, I told him at one point, I was like, dude, I don't have a good feeling about this. And he's like, oh no, you guys will show us how it's done and beat us. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. But from the first offensive snap to the last, it was bad. Christian Kirk getting hurt, defense just getting gashed in the running game. They started out with like a short passing game, and then it just got deeper and deeper. Then you had like the Jamar bomb. Well, I guess you wouldn't even call it a bomb. It was just like a quick little fade route, and he breaks a tackle and houses it. But you have that, and then, the Tyler Boyd interception to Josh Allen was hilarious. I thought, okay, like, we're done fucking around. The Bengals just like let us take the game back. Let's run away with it. And then Browning just kept going off. And then obviously, like, the worst part of the night was my boy.
That's my son! That's my boy! My boy!
Trev going down. Oh my gosh, man. I got emotional. I had to keep composure for the team because I knew the boys still needed me. There's still time left in the game. But I'm just glad. I've had a night to collect myself. Yeah, Clevy?
I just want to ask, what was up with the cart situation down there? It looked like he had to limp off pretty far, your boy Trevor.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about the carts and, like Jacksonville being a older community. Listen, Trev's a dog. He doesn't want a cart. He doesn't need a cart. That's how we do it in Duval, If we can walk, we walk. We don't take any shortcuts. There's no shortcuts to success. So, listen.
Hey, that's a tough one, man. I had Cincy at plus 8.5. I tried to make it not a personal bet, so I put that side action. Side note, I went over to the Roosters for the game. I put the side action, a parlay of a lot of props on the Jaguars. That could have all hit. We both could have won if they just pulled it off in OT. So I guess we're both kind of losers on that front. But that my guy Browning, he played pretty well. Let me get the stat up for you. 32 for 37, 354 yards, 1 tutty, 0 picks. I'm gonna ride that. That might be coming later. But you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about my pack. You got more to add?
I wasn't done, but you made it personal. Now you're stealing the mic away from me. You want to talk about your pack? I see you're wearing the shirt. Doesn't even work now.
There'll be more coming.
You're wearing the RELAX shirt. Doesn't even fit anymore. You know what? I'm gonna keep it personal. And down the road, we're gonna get like a little Lady Tyrell, Cersei Lannister moment where the Packers lose, get their heart torn out, and I'm just gonna look over and I'm gonna say, I want you to know it was me.
Tell Sassy. I wanted to know it was me.
But we'll kick it over to you.
God damn, what are you, like, Slim Shady? You're stealing my thunder? I was going to get to the RELX, but damn it. I don't want that to happen, but let's talk about my pack, baby. We beat the Chiefs, baby, 27-19. Week 3, week 4, week 5, people are asking me, hey, you selling that stock in Jordan Love? I said, no. Everyone relax, baby. That's what I was getting to. You had to spoil it. The shirt still fits. It still works. So we beat the Chiefs. J Love went 25 for 36, 267 yards, 3 tutties, 0 picks. That's the big number right there. He played his ass off. And then coming down the stretch, we got New York Giants on Monday Night Football, Bucks in Lambeau, at Carolina, at Minnesota, Bears in Lambeau. That's a recipe for the playoffs, baby. I think it's like 70% chance of making the playoffs now. Let's go, baby. Also, all that talk on ESPN this morning and yesterday about that pass interference by the Packers, we got robbed of a few calls too. I was on the phone with my dad. Shout out Doug. And he had a good point when Patrick Mahomes, when on that late hit call, obviously that wasn't a late hit by us. They blew that. But also, he was in bounds, so that the clock stopped. Could have been still running. He got knocked backwards. And then on the MVS catch, he got pulled backwards. So we got some raw deals too, but stoked on that win. So let's just keep it rolling, baby. To you, A-Rock. Oh, we got Rooster.
Yeah, you know, I've been kind of trying to keep it at bay with the refs. Like, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, they're starting to suck ass. They missed that they had a bogus holding call on the Jags in overtime. We complete a bomb to Calvin Ridley on the 1, and they call it on like a hook where our backup quarterback CJ Beathard had a decent showing. Yeah. Got the ball out. I liked it. I mean, I don't know. It was like a 50-50 call. I don't think you should be making that in overtime at that point in the game. So now I'm joining the bandwagon. Fuck the refs. But yeah, let's kick it. Oh.
I was just going to say, I was fading in and out of that overtime, but once I saw you guys complete that, I think I might have passed out, and then I woke up and they got pulled back. But I will say, back to Mahomes in my pack, I will say Mahomes kind of defended, like, he was like, it's a kind of 50-50 call in his press conference, he was saying, but he said bottom line is they shouldn't have been in that position. So I respect that. But we can keep it moving, not dwell on the rest. To you, A-Rock.
Yeah, just a quick money down parlay recap. We had Miami minus 7.5, easiest bet of the week, honestly. No stress there at all. Pittsburgh Cardinals, probably weirdest game of the weekend, you know, like weather delays like crazy, and then like almost, 40 points scored there. I'm surprised. I was surprised that the under was at 40, but I pulled it back to 45. That was an easy hit. Lost on the 39 points in the Bucks-Panthers game, just a garbage time touchdown, and then Jags minus 5.5. Obviously took the L, unfortunately, but Rooster showing a little chink in the armor there. He's talking shit last week, bringing up stats that didn't need to be brought up about how he's the best money down parlay person on the pod, but I heard him talking shit to another player in our flag football week. It's a what have you done lately for me, huh? So what have you done lately for me? So 4 out of the last 5 taking L's, not great.
Hey, fair enough. But I'm gonna dust myself off, and while the team's suffering, I'm still stacking dubs personally. So, I mean, listen, sometimes you just gotta go. You got to go lone wolf and make that side cash. But back to you.
All right, we'll get off of this. We'll move on. We'll go into Survivor. Easy week for the boys there. Chargers didn't really, every time they put it on Red Zone, it was like, Bailey Zappi getting sacked again. It's like, all right, stop showing me this shit. But so Chargers hit easy. Rooster, who you got this week?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they're playing on Monday Night Football. We haven't seen any weird things happen on Monday Night Football recently. And I mean, they're playing the Giants. I can't envision a world in where they lose. So I'm going to go with
Don't throw this voodoo bullshit on me. You're trying to jinx them, but damn it, I'm going with the pack too. I mean, there's not too many teams left on the board at this point. Week 14, we're favored by 7, going into the Meadowlands. I think we should be able to rip it off. I do not like what Brian's doing with this voodoo, but yeah, that's the pick. Green Bay.
All right. I mean, Green Bay it is. I don't have a pick. We're still working on these punishments. Trust us. So we're trying to schedule out the beer mile. We all collectively owe a beer mile. I owe the third punishment, which will remain a mystery. So we know what it is. We're gonna, schedule that out after the beer mile. Kind of see what happens the rest of the season, see if anybody else needs to do it. That way we can kind of, record those together if need be, but we definitely want to do the beer mile all on the same day. So we're scheduling that, and the third punishments will be coming as well for myself. So stay tuned for those. We have not forgot about it. We're not opting out. We will do it. Next, we have Glasseater, Jalen Waddle.
It's right. What the hell, man? Every time I see Red Zone flash to it, I see freaking Tyreek Hill
bomb.
and freaking maximum overdrive.
You'll never catch me, Crabs. Not when I shift into maximum overdrive. Hi-ya!
Taking off down the field. Like, it's brutal. Like, I mean, Waddle had 5 receptions for 52 yards, so 10.2 fantasy points. I do think I said take the over on 4.5 receptions or 5.5. So if you took that and you parlayed it with like a Mostert touchdown, of course that happened. And Achane, I didn't even know he was back. He had 2 tutties. So yeah, I mean, the entire offense went off. Waddle had somewhat of a muted day. So this week I'm going to get lazy, or I'm just going to be smart, and I'm going to go Alvin Kamara. They're playing the Panthers. Last time they played the Panthers, Kamara was on the suspension list, whatever you want to call it. He couldn't play. So I think this week he'll have a chance to get after him. I think last time they played the Panthers, Taysom Hill was their leading rusher, which is crazy. But yeah, I'm going to take Alvin Kamara here. Obviously, you can parlay that with a Taysom Hill tutty, because I mean, he had that rushing touchdown against the Lions where, like, I'm rooting for the Lions last week to cover, and the Saints sneak it on 4th and goal or 3rd and goal with Taysom Hill. And of course, the Mormon battering ram gets in. Yeah, what's up, Clev?
Mormon battering ram. I love that. Do you think the Mormon battering ram should maybe be starting over Jameis if Carr's out? How do you feel about that?
No, I think they need to keep it the way it is. I kind of like the way they mix him in. But shout out to him. He's had quite the sustainable role in New Orleans. No one would have, people were hating on him. Like, obviously they overpaid him, but still pretty impressive that he's maintained it that long. But yeah, I'm going Kamara. He's RB4 in fantasy, and he missed 3 games due to suspension. Wildly impressive. Dude's still got the juice, and I think he's got the most rushing touchdowns in Saints history. But yeah, that's the pick. Back to you.
Yeah, all right. We'll see what happens with that Panther Saints team. May be of interest this week. I don't know. Let's get into Guess the Line. We have the Bucks at the Falcons. Somebody has to win the NFC South game of the week. Go ahead, Klevdog. What's your analysis?
Alrighty. Tampa Bay at Atlanta. That's what you said?
Tampa Bay at Atlanta.
Okay. All right. They both kind of squeaked out shitty wins last week. They're kind of similar teams in my mind. I'm just going to play it safe and go -3 Atlanta at home. What do you got for me?
Right now, we got it at -2.5.
Damn it. I didn't move at all. Let me check. Let me get stats on this. Damn. All right. So that's a 2-pointer. That bumps me up to 19 on the season through week 14. Got to get to 32. I'm no math major, but I might be bugged. I might be jumping downtown.
Yeah. You needed to go 5 for 5 3-pointers. And 4 3-pointers remaining would put you at 31. So-
Well, you gave me a decent game to guess, but I just shot myself in the foot too much early on, guess on the complete wrong side of the line. That's what
Yeah,
get
I heard a little chirping about setting the line too early, but I think there was a little too many zeros in there for there to be that complaint.
Yeah, I'm screwed. Let's move on. I'll be drumming downtown. Stay tuned.
All right, I want to keep this competitive, so let's figure out how we can keep the guess the line. If you get points, somehow the punishment is reduced. So let's figure that out later.
I like it.
But let's go into picks. We'll start with favorites. Klevdog, redeem yourself.
Yes. So I keep going 1-1. I need to get hot. I need to have a 2-0 week like the Rooster. I'm going with my Detroit Lions at Chicago -3. So my pack beat up on them on Turkey Day. They choked away kind of a big lead down to NOLA last week. But I think it's a perfect get right spot. It's communicated to me from the weather girl that it's supposed to be harsh elements in Chi-Town. But I think that running attack is pretty formidable. I think they get the job done, and I just think Detroit's a better team. That's the pick. Detroit -3 against the Bears. To you, Rooster.
That's a good pick. I like it. For me, I just talked about my Glasseater. I'm going to take him in the collective NOLA team. I'm going to go Saints -5 against the Panthers. I took the Lions, obviously, against the Saints last week, but they showed some resilience coming back on the Lions, whether it's Carr or Jameis this week. I think that they're going to be able to have a little more offensive success than the Panthers. Obviously, you got Kamara and Olave, who've been being pretty formidable. Olave has been making some crazy plays last couple weeks. But yeah, I think Saints just are the better team right now. Panthers kind of reeling with the interim coach and everything. So it's gonna be my pick. I'm going Saints. What do you think about that, A-Rock?
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Right now, I don't love it. I'll say that right now. But right now, I want the Cowboys -3.5. The game in Philadelphia that the Cowboys almost won, by the way, that was a 5-point loss. So we got them -3.5 at home. Philly kind of getting beat up a little bit. Jalen Hurts, concussion. We don't know. Is he 100%? It's kind of that point in the season where I think the Eagles look a little bit susceptible, and the Cowboys are kind of peaking at this time. So I think they're just getting each other at weird times. And I think Cowboys being at home will be the difference. 5-point win on their side maybe this time around. So that's what I'm hoping for. Cowboys -3.5. With that being said, we'll go into the underdogs. Klevdog, who you got for your underdog?
Yeah, I'll be rooting for your Cowboys. I don't know though. Eagles might be one to get right down there, but huge game for you. I'm sticking with my Cincinnati Bengals at +1. Indianapolis is going into Cincy, and I like what I saw out of my guy Jake Browning. Like I said last night, he ripped Ryan's heart out. That was a shame. But also Chase Brown. This dude was averaging 7 yards a pop. That kind of came out of nowhere. I had to Google his name to brush up on that, but. Yeah, I see what Minshew and the Colts did last week in Tennessee, but come on, that's Tennessee. I like this. I think Cincinnati's was really peaking right before Burrow got hurt. Obviously, this Jake Browning isn't Burrow, but I think he can fill in, and I don't know. I think they might put a number on Indianapolis. I like this a lot. Cincinnati +1 against the Colts. Do you, Rooster?
Yeah. Hey, I will say AFC South, they got 3 teams with winning records, and the Colts are one of them. I don't know what they're doing in Indy, but they're 7-5. 2 of those losses are to the Jags. So outside of playing Jacksonville, they're 7-3. It's pretty impressive. But I mean, Gardner, yeah.
I was just going to add with a road win in Baltimore in overtime. That's a damn good win.
Yeah, I mean, they're the same record as the Texans, and I think they might actually have the tiebreaker over the Texans right now. And you don't hear much about their coach, Steichen. But I still think it's not a bad pick. I think Gardner, it's like any given Sunday with him. But for me, my dog, there were some tempers flaring in the pre-production meeting. Me and A-Rock were getting into it a little bit, and it was centered on a few picks, but for me, it was the Eagles Cowboys. I'm going Eagles plus 3.5. I didn't love many of the dogs this week, so I went with a team that's a dog that's only lost 2 times this year. In recent memory, it seems like they've had the Cowboys number. And then also one thing for me is the Cowboys defense. While their rush is good, the DBs looked very susceptible to those big receivers. When you think of DK Metcalf, he was just bullying Deron Bland until, I mean, Bland did have 1 interception on kind of like a late ball from Geno. But I think the DBs are a little weaker than we start to think just because of the interception numbers. So, I mean, you get A.J. Brown out there, maybe he gets matched up on Bland, and then, I mean, Devontae Smith is starting to really turn it on now and become a dangerous number 2. But yeah, I think the Eagles coming off the loss, they're going to be hungry. I mean, Dom is pissed off. I think that sets up well for them going into Dallas. A-Rock?
Yeah, all eyes on that game. I mean, I think the pass rush was the problem last week for the Eagles, and what'd you just say? Cowboys got a pass rush, so we'll see. We'll also see about that Panthers game, huh? So Panthers plus 5. That's my underdog. I mean, the Bucks beat the Saints in the Superdome earlier in the year. The Panthers just hung with the Bucks at home. I think it's going to be the same game. I think, the Panthers defense is better than people think. I'll say that. So all these close games, the game they won against the Texans, they held them to 13 points, I think was the score, 15-13. So I think it's going to be a very similar game, low scoring, and it's a 1-score game. I'm getting them at plus 5 this week. And so the Broncos, like I said, we're going to be a 1-score game at plus 3.5. So that's a little bit more on my favor on my side. So interim head coaches, they got something going on this year covering spreads. I think they are 3-1 with the Raiders covering 2 and the Panthers covering 1 so far this year. So, give me those interim coaches underdogs and I'll keep taking them. So Panthers plus 5, that's the pick. I mean, I cannot express this enough, but we got to get right on the MVP, man. I think we're 4-9 on the season. I think my wife said we gotta stop. I'm not riding anymore. She said I can't do the MVP anymore. So we gotta get right. Klevdog, your pick to get right, man.
We need to get Mrs. A-Rock back on the gravy train. So I'm going to play it safe. I've hit on the past 3 weeks, but I've been kind of playing it safe in that plus or minus 170 range. I'm going with my Miami Dolphins again. I picked them last week. I got them this week at minus 9.5. They're playing in Miami against Tennessee. The real line is minus 13.5. So we're rolling that back a little. I think it's around minus 170. So with the fellas, we'll see what the odds come out to. But, I mean, the Finns have been rolling. They beat the Commanders 45-15. Week before that, they beat the Jets 34-13. So, I mean, I hope the trend keeps going that they just beat the shit out of shitty teams. Also, shout out Hard Knocks. Please turn in if you have not. Hard Knocks is really good in the season. People sleep on that. But that's the pick. Minus 9.5, Miami alternate line to you, Rooster.
I like that pick. I hope that Mrs. A-Rock likes it as well. We need her taking this. We need everyone we can get on board here. We need it. So for me, I'm going back to a game that Klevdog liked. I'm going Lions money line against the Bears for all the same reasons that he said. And also, while I am a little worried about Jared Goff and the weather, if it does precipitate down.
Our winds will change. Right now, kind of hung up just a little bit. Oh, I moved the map. I didn't know I could do that.
With some rain or some snow. One thing I do like about the Lions in this is they have a dominant offensive line. So if it gets a little muddy in there, they're going to have the Bears D line is not going to be able to get a good rush and they're not going to be able to get upfield. So I think the Lions can play a little bully ball with their offensive line. The Lions at -3. I mean, I just think the Lions are the much better team. They're playing for something. The Bears, I mean, they're 4-8 right now. Feels like they need to come back and maybe lose some games if they want to get a good pick here. But I mean, that's obviously for this off season. But yeah, I'm going Lions, and I'm like you said earlier, I think it's going to be the run game. Maybe get Jameis
Today, Junior?
Williams. There we are. Going a little bit, maybe get him on some more reverses and stuff. And then obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. Yeah.
Is that Jameson Williams, the same dude that flew into the end zone, did that like spider? Okay, that's him. All right. Back to you.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. And that's why we're going with the Lions. I'm kicking over to A-Rock.
All right. I like those picks. And I like the Bengals, like Klevdog said. I like them as a home dog, and I like them at plus 3.5. I'm going to take that alternate spread. Let me win if there is a loss by a field goal, but keep the boys upright with that plus 3.5 alternate spread. Brings it back a little bit. Jake Browning, picked him up in fantasy. Pretty solid. I liked it. And like Klevdog said, the running game, if Cincinnati can control the running game, that opens up everything else. You start getting play action passes off of that, start getting those dynamic wide receivers involved, and that's where we see that offense flourish. Like Klevdog said, I mean, if I'm a backup quarterback, I'm going to want to come into that wide receiver core more than anywhere else. So, you give me 3 wide receivers in Higgins, Boyd, and Chase. You're going to have options to throw to. So that rounds it out. Klevdog, what do we got for the odds?
Calculating. Okay, so we got Miami minus 9.5, Cincinnati plus 3.5, Detroit money line, and that brings the odds to plus 299. So we reeled this back in to something reasonable. We're hoping to get on the money train. We're hoping we can get Mrs. A-Rock back into the gambling booth with us. I got something for the wrap up though. We got a great game that both you boys are on, Eagles at Cowboys, but then we have a really good game, I think, again, Buffalo at KC.
Oh, so, I thought you were going to say the Patriots Steelers on Thursday night, but go on.
No, the game where they needed Bill Belichick as the graphic. No, I mean, yeah, that's a shitty game. No, not that. Buffalo at KC. So KC is only favored minus 2.5. They're not even favored a full field goal at home. So, I mean, looking at Buffalo's schedule, they're coming off bye week, but before that, that devastating loss in Philly. And then before that, they beat the shit out of the Jets. But what, you guys have a take on this game?
I like KC. I don't think Buffalo has the juice this year. I think there's just too many injuries on the defensive side for it to be not taking KC here, even coming off a bye. Rooster?
Yeah, I think KC needs it. I think Josh Allen might start looking forward to the offseason here soon and maybe going and playing some golf and crushing some brews. So I'm going KC too.
Yeah, that's the whole pod too. I mean, it's just like they're at home, and obviously the Packers not rolling them, but beating them this week is factoring in. But I just think that game was more about the Pack just kind of punching them in the mouth early on with those 2 phenomenal drives and then them exchanging field goals. Like, I don't know. I think KC's still a really good team, and they got them at home. I think they handled the business and get the job done.
The over-under for that Pats Steelers game is 30. And I might take the under still. We got 2 backup quarterbacks probably coming out there. I don't know what the status on Kenny Pickett is, but good Lord.
No, he got like, I mean, I'm a big ankle guy now. I've been looking into this a lot with Trevor's injury. He got like, I forget what it's called, like a band surgery on his ankle. It's like a way to help recover a high ankle sprain apparently. But he'll be back in like 2 to 3 weeks, I think.
Huh. Yeah, I knew you're a big feet guy, but I didn't know you're a big ankle guy too. I think Mitch Trubisky isn't that too big of like a drop off after Kenny Pickett does. So we'll see. That's a hilarious under though, 30. You should play it.
Oh, dude, I might take it. It's so sad that it has to be taken. You mentioned the the Kenny Pickett drop off to Mitch Trubisky, but I literally saw Mitch Trubisky fumble a snap in his hands last week and lost it. So there might be somewhat of a drop off in there.
Hey, real quick, talk about like a couple embarrassing quarterback plays. We were kind of hyping up Jake Browning, but I will say he had 2 really embarrassing false starts in that game. They were like almost back to back. I think there was like one play after the other.
Yeah.
It's like exactly what I picture myself doing if my fucking bitch ass had to go into an NFL game. I would just be like so scared and false starting. That shit was embarrassing. But great stat line, great game for the guy.
Amen. All right. I think I'm good. Anybody else? We all good?
Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I'll leave us with a little quote. Breaking news, David Carr, Derek Carr's brother, says that right now Marcus Mariota should be QB1 over Jalen Hurts. Says he'd probably better at playing and he'd be more productive. So we'll end on that. What do you guys think? We'll just let that sit there.
Jesus
Dumbass.
Christ. That was stupid as hell. I got dumber hearing that. All right.
Whether
Thanks.
it's Mariota or Hurts, bet the Eagles. It's a huge lock.
Don't do it. Fucking getting baited over there. All right. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch you next week. If you're not affiliated with a gambling site or sponsored in any way, if you're going to gamble, please do so responsibly. For gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER.